Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, people. Good evening, Advanced 4. How are you? How are you today? Please remember, if you can hear me, write something in the chat. Okay, here I have the chat so I can read your comments. Okay, please write something in the chat if you can hear me. Cesar, remember, if you're there, please write something in the chat so I know that you are there and that we can start. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Cesar. Are you there? Can you hear me? Can you please write something? Cesar, I would like you to write something in the chat. Okay, if you are there, write something simple. Okay, in the chat. Hi, teacher. I'm okay. I'm ready. Are you there? Cesar, yes, are you there? But I suppose you're there, but I would like you to write something in the chat. So I'm completely sure that you are there listening to me. Cesar, write something in the chat. Okay, then I suppose that you are there. Let me start. Um, just for you to remember, this is Miss Villar. Okay, so for any question, please write something in the chat if you have a question or a comment or your answers. Okay, because if I ask you something, you have to write your answers in the chat. So let's start now. Guess what? This is the last unit, right? This is the last unit of your book of this level. And this is a table of contents. Unit 4. Unit 4. So, can you hear the betting wells? So, bells, sorry, the betting bells. So, can you hear ting, 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 right? The wedding bells. Can you hear the wedding bells? The wedding bells, I'm sorry, the wedding bells. So can you hear them? We're going to talk about the wedding. Uh-huh. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, and now this is the table of contents, right? Actually, we don't have time to check them all, but we're going to check some particular things, okay? Starting with the vocabulary, some explanation about future perfect continuous, some activities about it too. So let's see. Let's start with the vocabulary. And I have one important question here. Ta-da! Cesar, what do you need for a wedding? Can you please tell me in the chat what do you need for the wedding? What do you think that we need for a wedding? So, necessary things, people, I don't know. Something you need for a wedding. Ideas? No, Cesar? Okay, so I'm going to divide the wedding in 3 parts. Okay, like before, during, and after. Okay, so here we are going to learn some vocabulary related to the wedding, of course, but related to some activities you do before, during, and after the wedding. Okay, so let's start with all the activities that you do before. Okay, before the special day. So before, let's remember that, for example, here you have two pictures, okay? And in the first one, well, in both of them, you can see two couples, right? They're falling in love. But there is a difference between them, to be honest. In the first one, you can see, of course, they are head to head and they are falling in love. But their relationship is different. Why? Because in the first picture, he is the boyfriend and she is the girlfriend, right? Perfect. They are falling in love. They are a couple, and they are boyfriends, right? Boyfriend and girlfriend. They are a couple. Excellent. Now, in the second picture, there is something different. Can you see that, man? Right? So, he has something special on his hands. Ta-da! Right? A ring. Yeah, a ring. And there is the important question. Will you marry me? Hey, my beautiful girlfriend. Will you marry me? Right? And at that moment, well, if she says yes, in the majority of the cases, she's not going to say, yes, I will. Just, yes, yes, and just that, right? So, will you marry me? And if she says yes, then she will be the fiancé, right? The fiancé, and he will be the fiancé. Okay? It's like fiancé for girl, fiancé for boy. Okay? So remember, this is different according to, well, the situation, right? So boyfriend and girlfriend, and then if the man or the woman asks, would you marry me? Then she becomes into the fiancé and he into the fiance. Perfect, Cesar. Cesar, any questions? Remember, for all questions that you could have, please write them in the chat. Here I have the chat in my cell phone. Now, when you say yes, well, when the girlfriend says yes, the new fiancé, you have to plan, right? You have to plan all the wedding. So the first step is engage. When you're in a relation, like you are promising something to the other person, you are engaged. Now, first, you can um, hire a wedding planner, right? Maybe to plan all that event, you can call a wedding planner, okay? And in the majority of the cases, he or she will be your best friend during this process, okay? So the wedding planner, I think, is the first option that a couple has to start the planning process. Now, another thing you have to think, when is going to be the wedding? What is it going to be? Maybe this season, the next one, next year, in 2 years. So you have to plan that, right? When? When will be our wedding? Okay? And another thing that is so important is where, right? Where is it going to be? So, in the majority of the cases, people decide first to have a ceremony, right? In the church. In the church, of course. Some people could say, no, I would like to have a wedding at the beach, or at the hotel, or at the camp, or at the church. Okay? At the church. So, and here in Peru, people starts the ceremony in the church, and then they goes to a reception, right? So that is the wedding reception. They start in the church, they complete all the ceremony, and they then go to the reception, right? To the wedding reception. Okay, so that is all the things that you think about before wedding. So, will you marry me? Yes, I will. So I become into the fiance and he is the fiance. And then we have to think in the wedding planner. When is it going to be the party? Well, the event. Where is it going to be? The church, the hotel, the reception, the wedding reception. Think about, and the most important, look, the budget, the budget, okay? Of course, because you are thinking, yes, I have to do this, and this, but you also have to think in how much, right? How much you are going to spend on all of these things, right? So for all of those things, you need a budget. Budget. Okay, a budget. How much you're going to spend, right? Maybe you have a limit and you think like, okay, I'm going to spend like $10,000, something like that, or no, yeah, we can spend like $50,000. Who knows? Okay, if you want a big party, right? A big wedding reception, for example, or just $1,000, and that's all we're going to spend. Our budget is $1,000, no more. Okay. So all of these are the things in vocabulary that we use before the wedding. Okay, Cesar? Please, I need you to write something in the chat. Comments? Okay, let's continue with the other part, and that was before. Now, during. Okay, what do you need during the wedding? So you are at that moment. So you have planned everything, and it's the time. Okay, so that day, you are not the fiance or the fiancé. You are, if you're a woman, you are the bride and you are the groom for men. Okay, the bride or the groom. Okay, so at that moment, you become into a new person, and for women, you are brides, and for men, you are grooms. Okay. Now, something really, really important for the bride, okay, is the bridal gown. Okay, the bridal gown. And actually, this is the only day that you wear this kind of dresses, right? This kind of dress. And well, if you're a model, maybe you can wear it not only that day, but this day is so special because you are engaged with someone, right? So that is a bridal gown. Then for men, they use a tuxedo, right? So formal suit, right? A formal suit. Not just a jacket, jeans, sneakers. No, you have to wear a tuxedo, right? So formal. That is about clothing. Now let's talk about people. Okay. Now, it's like it's so typical there in the U.S. in the States to have a group of friends, right? That they are going to be with you during that day. Okay, they are like your crew, your team, right? The bride team and the groom team. Okay. And when we talk about the bride team, the girls, okay, the bride team, they are the bridesmaids, the bridesmaids. Okay. Now, when we talk about the groom's team, okay, the groom's crew, they are the groomsmen. Groomsmen. Okay. So the bride's team, the bridesmaid, and the groom's team, the groomsman. Perfect. Now, there's also someone from the bridesmaid. There's one special. Okay, there's one special bride. Brides. There's one special maid that is going to be like together with the bride during all um, during all the wedding, and she is the maid of honor. Okay, the maid of honor. Sorry, the maid of honor. Okay, she's going to be with you all day. She's caring about you. Are you okay? What do you need? Let me check this part. Okay, your hair, your nails, your dress is okay. So she's checking that. Not only the wedding planner, but the maid of honor is your, actually, in the majority of the cases, she's your best friend. Okay, she's so special for you, so you want to share all of this experience with someone, not necessarily your mother, because, well, she has a special place there, but with a friend it's completely different, right? And something similar like the maid of honor, but for the groom is the best man. Okay, the best man. Similar to the maid of honor, he is going to help the groom during the process. Okay, during the wedding. Uh, my friend, do you need something? Everything. He also carries the rings, right? So he is the responsible person before the wedding to take care of those rings. Okay, they are so special, so he is worried about them. He cannot lose them. And finally, during the wedding, there is something special between the couple, the vows. Okay, the vows. In this case, a vow is when you say a special text for that person. Okay, so for example, I promise I will be with you during all our life. I'm going to help you if you need me. I'm going to be there with you. So all the promises, all the offers that you make to that person, okay, to that person who is so special for you, right? The vows. So all of this is the vocabulary. Are there more? Yes, there are more vocabulary, but I think this is like the most special vocabulary for the wedding during the moment, okay? At the moment. So you have the bridal gown, the tuxedo, the bride, groom, bridesmaids, groomsmaids, the maid of honor, right? The special friend, actually the best friend, and the best man. Also, he could be his best friend, right? The groom's best friend. And that special moment, you exchange rings and then you say the vows, right? I promise you I will be with you all my life, like forever, right? Then let's continue. That was before, during. Now let's talk about some vocabulary after. Okay, after the wedding. After the wedding. Now, um, what kind of vocabulary we can use after the wedding? So, as I've told you, here you have two pictures, right? In the first picture, you can see the bride and the groom, right? So at that moment, when the wedding is happening, um, You are the bride and he is the groom. But then when that event has finished, right? When you are going to the wedding reception, at that moment you are not the bride or you are not the groom. You become, in the case of women, women, you become into the wife or wives, and he is the husband, right? So during that short period of time, when you were in the church, he was the bride and he was the groom. But when they go outside, she is the wife and he is the husband, right? Yeah, things things change so quickly. Now, when you are at that moment going outside um, the church, you are just marriage, just marriage. Okay, you're just marriage. You have just marriage. Perfect. Then other vocabulary that it's important, as I've told you, when the ceremony finishes, then you go to the reception, right? The wedding reception. And there you go, I mean, the couple, the new couple go there, but they're waiting, all the family are waiting them there, right? Family, friends, all of you are waiting the new couple. They are when they arrived. Um, there also you can share some food, right? While they are waiting. What else? Also, something really important that happens in the wedding reception is the wedding dance, right? Some couples prepare a special dance for that moment, for the reception. Could be like something simple, right? The ball, something like that, a dance, simple. Or you can prepare something special, right? Could be a dance, or in some cases could be like um could be like a song, right? Who knows? Could be a song too. So actually I think in the majority of the cases they prepare a dance, right? Who knows, a tango, something like that. Okay, then the wedding bouquet. So this is like um something like just for women, right? For single ladies, here is the wife. She's not the bride, she's the wife, and she has a bouquet, right? A bouquet of flowers. And the the tradition says that she throws the bouquet, right? She throws it, and one single woman should catch it. And if you bouquet, you will get married so soon, right? So if you catch it, you have to look at your boyfriend, because first he's your boyfriend, and you will say, huh, what do I have here? And where's my ring, right? So that is that event, the wedding bouquet. I have seen something similar for women. They have like a flower here, and they throw that. So that's something similar as the wedding bouquet, but the wedding flower. I don't know, something like that. Um, and finally, when all of this finishes, guess what? It's time for the honeymoon, right? It's time for the honeymoon. Of course, you have planned that before the wedding, obviously. Um, but it's time to travel, right? We finished with the wedding abroad. Maybe you can decide to travel like in a place here in your country, or you can decide to travel abroad. It depends on the time you have and how much money you have, your budget, remember? It depends on all of that stuff. So you are not a husband, you are not a bride and groom. You are husband and wife, right? And you can travel to wherever you want because you are a new family now. Cesar, I would like to know if you have any question about this all of this vocabulary. Do you have any question? Remember, if you have a question or a comment, maybe you don't have questions and you could say, Miss Villar, everything clear, everything is okay. You can write here in the chat your comments. Yes? So we have seen some vocabulary that we use before, during, and after. Any comment? Okay, think. Cesar, maybe you don't have you don't have questions, but you can write something like Villar, everything okay. César, escribe algo para que yo sepa que me estás siguiendo las ideas, ¿sí? Y que no hay ninguna pregunta. Sería bueno que escribieras al menos algún comentario diciendo, Miss, todo ok, continuemos, o sí, tengo una pregunta por ahí, ¿ok? Write your questions or your comments. Yes. Okay, let's continue. I don't know, Cesar, if you're there. I would like to know, actually. I would like to know it. But you don't write anything, unfortunately. Okay, let's continue. Now, I think now we can complete this part of the vocabulary. Um, and as I've told you, I would like to read your answers, okay? Because I have presented um, some vocabulary related to the wedding, of course, and you're going to use that vocabulary here, okay, with this in this activity. So you have choose the words that correspond to the definitions. So you have one sentence, one definition, and three possible answers. So let's see. Number one, it says, the amount of money you plan to spend. The amount of money you plan to spend. Wait, expensive, sorry, or budget. What do you think is the answer, Cesar? Wage, expense, or budget? Can you please write your answer? I would like to read your answer. Please, write it. Yes, for number one, the amount of money you plan to spend. wait, expense, or budget? Cesar, your answer, please, for number 1. Okay, so the number 1 is budget, right? Budget. One more time, I would like to read your answers, but I think you're not there, unfortunately. Or if you are there, I don't know why you are not writing your answer. Okay, number 2, the place where a wedding takes place. A place where a wedding takes place. Venue, mention, or charge. Like in the majority of the cases, okay, what do you think? Place where a wedding takes place. Letter A, venue, B, mention, or C, charge. What do you think is the answer? Please write your answer in the chat. Okay, so the answer is charge, right? Very good, charge. In the majority of the cases, the wedding takes place in the church, and then they have a wedding reception. Then, let's continue with the wedding dress. What is the wedding dress? Letter A, engagement dress, bridal gown, or white skirt. Do you have the answer? Okay, so the answer is letter B, right? Bridal gown. Bridal gown. Perfect. Let's move on to number 4. And it says the trip the couple takes after the wedding. Important. After. Okay, so not before, after the wedding. The marriage voyage, moon of honey, or honeymoon. Do you know the answer? 5 seconds. Okay, so the answer is honeymoon, right? Honeymoon. Excellent. Let's go to number 5. Number 5, it says, the moon, the, the women who attend the bride throughout the wedding day. So, throughout, during all the wedding day. Do you remember the name of this group? So are they the ladies of honor, the marriage mothers, or the bridesmaid? Write your answer. 5. Okay. So the answer is bridesmaids, right? That is like the bride's team, the bride's crew. Okay. All of this team, this group, helps or attends the bride during the date, right? Excellent. Let's continue because we have 5 more. Who is a groom? Hmm? Who is a groom, people? Letter A man who is about to get married, or letter B, a special guest at the wedding. Or letter C, the master of ceremony. What is the correct answer? A groom. A, B, or C? Five, four. Okay, so the answer is letter A, right? A man who is about to get married. Marriage. He's going to get married, right? Excellent. Married. Number 7, it says the man, okay, the man who the man who personally assists the groom on the wedding day. So, is he the man of honor? Letter B, best man, or letter C, bride man? Who is that man who personally assists the groom, on the wedding day? He's also carry about the rings. Do you remember? 5, 4. Okay, so the answer is letter B, right? Best man. Best man. Excellent. Letter A. The man and the women, the man and the woman exchange tan 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 at some point during the ceremony. So what do they exchange? Flowers, rings, or kisses? What do you think? The man and the woman exchange flowers, rings, or kisses at some point during the ceremony. What do you think? 5, 4. Okay, so the answer is rings, right? They exchange rings, right? Well, they exchange kisses. Well, that is um, during all their relationship, actually, not only at that moment, not only during the ceremony. So during all that day, and during all their lives. Let's go to number 9. And it says, the promises the couple makes at the ceremony. So the promises. I promise you, I will, blah, 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 blah. Right? So are they letter A, commitments, vows, or covenants? What do you think, people? An idea? So we have 3 options. Okay, 5, 4, 3. Okay, so the answer are vows, right? Vows. Those are the promises that she makes to him, and the opposite, right? Perfect. Let's continue with number 10. And it says, a couple gets some months before getting married. So they get, the couple gets compromised, tied, or engaged. Compromised, tied, or engaged. Some months before before getting married. Five, four. Okay, so the answer is engaged, right? Engaged. The couple gets engaged some months before getting married. Okay, so remember you are first a couple like girlfriend and boyfriend, and then the man asks, or sometimes the girl, will you marry me? And if you say yes, I will, then you are engaged. Okay, perfect. Remember that if you have any question, maybe you can write here in the chat. Okay. Now, let's continue with some grammar. Okay, let's talk about present perfect continuous. What is it, Miss Villar? Present perfect continuous. So, uh, first, this is a tense that you use for future, right? For future events. We're going to check in what situations you can use it. Okay? So basically, you can use it in two situations. Let's check the first one. It says, to show that something will continue up until a part event up until a particular event or time in the future. Okay? You are showing that something, yeah, will continue up, is going to continue until a particular event, okay, in the future. One example here is this. By July, I will have been working at World and American English for 2 years. Okay? Actually, for 1 year, but it's an example. By July, I will have been working at World and American English for 2 years. To understand this sentence better, you have this timeline, okay? And here, this is July 2020, right? By July, this July. And let's go back 2 years. So it means I started uh, in that point. I started to work at American World English on July 2018. Okay, I started on that date. But when in the future, because right now it's May, right? Right now it's May. It's May 2020. But in the future, like July 2020, look, 2 years, right? July 2018, 2019, 2020, 2 years, right? It has passed 2 years. So by that moment, in that moment, I will have been working at World American English for about 2 years. Okay, at that moment. That is, one more time for this situation, to show that something will continue up until a particular event or time in the future. What is the particular time? July 2020. Okay, let's continue, because here I have another situation when you use the future perfect continuous. Now, you can also use this tense to talk about something that finishes just before another time or action. For example, I will be tired when I get home because, important, because I will have been walking for about an hour. Okay? So that is the second situation, right? To talk about something that finishes just before another time or expression. You are giving an explanation. Why are you tired, right? So it says, one more time, I will be tired in the future. I will be tired when I get home because I will have been walking for about an hour. One more time, let's understand it with the timeline, right? So in the future, I will, right? That is in the future. What it means that in the past, I started walking, right? I started doing that action. And for what period of time? For about an hour, right? So that's the explanation with the graphic. So I will be tired in the future when I get home because I will have walking for about an hour. Long period of time just walking. Questions over here, people? Can you please write some questions if you have them? Let's continue. Now, what about the structure? Okay, because as usual, all the tenses, it has a special structure, right? First, we saw in what situations we use the future perfect continuous, and now I'm going to tell you what is the structure. First, for the affirmative sentence, and is this subject, will, have been, the verb plus ing, and the complement. Okay? That is future perfect continuous in affirmative form. What about the negative? This is the structure. I will not have been, verb plus ing, and the complement, right? You can also say I won't. Why not? And what about the interrogative form? So you start with the auxiliary. Will, subject, have been, the verb plus ing, and the complement. And so important, the question mark. Okay, the question mark. Now, as you can see, you use will for all the subjects. I will have been. She will have been. Miss Villar, one question. If I use she, do I have to change, for example, that part have been in order to that instead of that, can I say has been? No. Okay, so will have been is for all the subjects. Okay, you have to respect that structure. I will have been, she will have been, they will have been, we will have been, he will have been. Okay? For all the subjects, you use will have been. Or for negative, will not have been or won't have been. The same with the interrogative form. Will she, will they, will I, will you have been, tan, 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 complement, and the question mark, right? Okay. Now, I have some examples, okay? I have three examples. These are the examples that you have in your book, okay? Now, the first example, it says, in January 2021, the future, right, the next year. In January 2021, I will have been studying English for 2 years, right? So I started on 2019. 2019 July 2020, July 2021. 2 years, right? I will have been studying English for 2 years. That means that you have started English, learning English on January 2019, right? January 2019. Excellent. The second example, it says, at 7 p.m., the children will have been playing video games for 4 hours. My goodness, 4 hours. So they should do different things, right? Not only that. Okay. So at that time in the future, my children will have been playing video games for 4 hours. Okay. They, right? They will have been. You could also say this with she, right? She will have been playing. Or they will have been playing, right? Excellent. The next one, the third one actually. It. I will have been studying for 5 years. So at that moment in my life, I will have been studying English for 5 years, right? Now, let's use this last example for the timeline, okay? You have the timeline, and in the future, right? So when I graduate, at that point in the future, it means like 5 years ago, I entered to the university, institute, school, okay? And the period of time between those events are 5 years. So I entered here, and 5 years later, I'm going to graduate. Okay, I will graduate. Remember, this is about this last example. When I graduate, I will have been studying for 5 years. Like, cuando me gradúe, yo habré estado, right? Yo habré estado estudiando por tantos años. Okay. I will have been graduated, I will have been studying for 5 years. Excellent. Any questions, people, over there? I would like to know if you are understanding everything or that you have any question. Okay, I think you don't have questions. Okay, so let's go to the activities. Okay, using that that explanation, all of that explanation, let's talk about the activities related to the grammar. Here, what is the instruction? Unscramble the following sentences. Okay, so you have to order the sentences, right? Because the first one says, the baby will being at 3 p.m. hours for half sleeping 3. What is that? What in the world is that? You have to unscramble them, okay? Take your time. If you can, please write your answers here in the chat. Take your time. Okay. So, now let me show you the answers, okay? Because maybe you can pause the video and then you can play it again later. Let's see. The baby will be at 3 p.m. hours for half sleeping 3. Total chaos. So the correct order is this, right? You can start with the time expression. Actually, in the majority of the cases, you start with the time expression for future perfect continuous. So, at 3 p.m., the baby will have been sleeping for 3 hours. Poor baby. What it means that he or she started crying, sleeping at 1 o'clock, right? 1, 2, 3, no, at noon. At noon. Well, actually, babies sleep like 5 hours, then they get up, they wake up, and they ask for food, they cry a little bit, and they continue sleeping, right? They sleep a lot. So at 3 p.m., the baby will have sleeping for 3 hours. Just that. And remember, the baby, you could say he or she, but the rest of the sentence is the same. So she will have been sleeping. Perfect. He will have been sleeping. Perfect. Okay? Or the babies, they will have been sleeping. Number 2, people. Week this being working have project 4 months will on next 5. Okay, just one more time. So the order is this one. Next week, right, comma, I will have been working on this project for 5 months. Okay? So I started this project like 5 months ago, but next week, if I want to know the exact time, next week I will have been working on this project for 5 months. Okay, so it's a huge project, right? Everything should be perfect here for this project. Okay, the next one, number 3. It says, years tomorrow have for family, the being 7 using same will my TV. What is that? So, the correct answer is tomorrow, my family will have been using the same TV for 7 years. Okay? So tomorrow, right? The family, it would have been using the same TV for 7 years. Long time. Okay? Number 4, it says, years 2020, have Lima living I buy for wheel 10. What is that? Do you know the correct answer? So the correct answer is this. By 2020, I will have been living in Lima for 10 years, right? I will have been living years. In my case, I have done that for all my life. So by 2020, this year, I will have been living in Lima for 27 years. I mean, my whole life, right? 27 years. Because I'm 27. Number 5, the last one. For 20 being together next years, have my by parents living will. What is that? So in the correct order, right, unscramble the words is, by next year, my parents will have been living together for 20 years. Okay? As you can see, I start with the time expression, right? Like to emphasize when is this event is going to end, right? Or for what is the period, right? You can also, that's why you start with the time expression, or also to understand at what point in the future, right, that event is going to finish. Well, not necessarily finish, but until what point in the future it's going to continue. Maybe it can continue longer, but until that moment, I will have been doing that for that period of time. Okay. I recommend you to start with the time expression first. By that moment in the future, at that moment, tomorrow, right? And all of the time expressions are talking about the future, right? You could not say yesterday. No, you're talking about the future. Okay. So tomorrow, next week, next day, next month, by 2020, by next year, at 3 p.m. Remember that you use at when you know the specific time, right? At noon, at 10 past 4, I don't know. Okay. What else? Well, this we cannot do this activity because you are not here with me. Maybe we can finish this lovely activity. Let me check. Okay. Let's continue with this. Have the answers. Let's just read them. Okay, so you have changing the following sentences into the future perfect continuous form. Okay, well, you have there the answers, but let's read them together. You have, by next week, you start with the time expression, right? The number one. By next week, I will have been working in this company for 2 years. Just that, 2 years. A short period of time, by the way. Number two, Carlos and Maria will have been taking, right? Will have been taking the 2-hour exam in 20 minutes. So remember, they will have been, right? She will have been, they will have been, it will have been. You don't change that part, have been. That is the structure actually. Now the number 3, it says in 2027, right? In 2027, in that year, they, using live, they will have been living there for 10 years. So the total of years that they will have been living is for 10 years. Okay? It means that they moved there in, I don't know, in 2015, right? Because less 10, I'm sorry. So they moved there in 2010, right? 2010. And in 2027, they will have been living there for 10 years. So it has passed like 10 years. The number 4, on Friday, using, okay, this is incorrect. This should be teach, right? Teach. Sorry. On Friday, Katari will have been teaching in that school for 6 months. On that day, right, on Friday, at the end of this week, Katari will have been teaching. The correct word is teaching. Okay? Let me correct it. teaching. So they will have been teaching in that school for 6 months. Okay, perfect. Let's continue with the next one. Number 5, by January. By January, where is it? Yeah, by January, I, using the verb play, I will have been playing in that team for a year. So 1 year ago, I started playing with them, right, with that team. And by January, the next January, I will have been playing in that team for a year. Perfect. The next one, number 6. I guess he's about to finish by tomorrow at this time. He's about to finish, okay? He will have been dealing with that project for 3 weeks. Dealing with that project for 3 weeks, right? Like dealing, like he was fighting with that project. He was on it, okay? It was, for that period, that was a problem, not necessarily a problem, like he was fighting with that for 3 weeks, but finally he's going to finish it. Yeah, maybe because he has to present it. Then number 7, by next Halloween, Halloween. By next Halloween, that secretary will have been working here for 10 years. So remember 10 years ago, yeah, in that holiday, that secretary arrived, right? Started working in that company. So by next holiday, not this one, the next one, that secretary will have been working here for 10 years. Okay, maybe if she's there for that period of time, she is doing an amazing job, right? And the last one, by the end of this year, dun, 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 my dad will have been driving the cars for 2 decades. So like in December, right? By December or by the end of this year, my dad will have been driving that car for 2 decades. Like 2 decades ago, he bought that car, right? And it's like old because 2 decades, a long time, right? A long period of time. And that's all, people. Thanks a lot. I hope you have learned something. Remember, if you could write in the chat. And my YouTuber moment. If you enjoyed this video, please thumbs up, subscribe, and follow us in our social media, Instagram and Facebook. Okay? Don't forget that in your platform you have more activities, so you can continue practicing with them, and also complete the activities that you have in your book. Okay? People, it was a pleasure to me to be your teacher today. One more time, I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and see you next time, because tomorrow we have our lesson, right, at Zoom. It was a pleasure, people. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.